Hi, everyone. We are live on this Friday night, August 9th, 2024. The Dolphins have just completed their 20-13 victory against the Falcons in the preseason opener at Hard Rock Stadium on a night when the draft picks played very, very well. The quarterbacks didn't play particularly well. The field wasn't very good, and they were ugh. 3 instant replay reviews, because if you know me, you know I love instant replay. Like I love root canal. So we're going to dive into all of this and then check out what you guys have to say. First of all, thanks everyone for joining me out here for this live All Dolphins podcast recap of the Dolphins preseason opener against the Atlanta Falcons. Where should we start? Okay, we're going to start as at the top. Preseason opener, that means bunch of the starters don't play. This is what Mike McDaniel has done in his 3 seasons as head coach. This was nothing surprising. He had dropped a hint that Tua Tagovailoa would not play in this game, and then he was joined on the sidelines by every single player listed first on the Dolphin depth chart, except for edge defender Quentin Bell. And Quentin Bell is kind of a unique first-team player on the depth chart in that he's basically, I don't want to say come out of nowhere, but he's basically been a training camp sensation, a player who is unproven in the NFL. So if any of the frontline guys was not going to play, made sense that it would be him. The one player who did not play that came as a bit of a surprise to me was first-round pick Chop Robinson. I understand the Dolphins do not want to expose him to any unnecessary risk, but he's also a young developing player. He's not a finished product, even though he's got potential up the wazoo. Still a little bit surprised to see him not dressed. There's no such thing as an inactive list for the preseason, but he did not dress. And he was the only one of the draft picks who did not play, minus an injury. Mohamed Kamara, the 5th-round pick, edge rusher from Colorado State, didn't play, but he was dealing with something because he has not practiced in a couple of days. Taj Washington, of course, the rookie 7th-round wide receiver from USC, is on IR, so he didn't play, but the other 4 draft picks played, and all of them were very good, actually. Jalen Wright, the 4th-round running back from Tennessee, is the one who's going to get the headlines because he plays running back. He has the ball in his hands. But all 4 of them were good. Patrick Paul played the entire game at left tackle. Had some very, very good blocks. Didn't see any issues, no penalties. Didn't see him get beat with the pass rush. Made some very, very nice blocks in the run game, as did a couple of other guys. Sean Harlow, the veteran the Dolphins picked up this week, I noticed him very much in the run game in the first half and a bit in the second half as well. He was very good. Jack Driscoll also had some good blocks, the veteran free agent pickup the Dolphins got from the Philadelphia Eagles. He did a nice job. Again, Jalen Wright's the one who's going to get the accolades because he's the one who's going to put up the numbers. And if I look at his final numbers, that's were very impressive. Chris Brooks, who, if you know me, this was a man crush of mine last summer. Then battled injuries during the season, battled injuries in the spring this year. 12 carries, 40 yards, but he ran hard. The dude just runs hard. I mean, I like the kid. He impresses the hell out of me. I thought he looked good. Jeff Wilson Jr. had his moments as well. He did drop a pass, which was a theme for the Dolphins on this night. Man, they dropped a lot of passes. Braylon Sanders again, which really isn't. Don't want to be disrespectful with the dude's not making the roster anyway. So, I don't want to say it's borderline inconsequential, but borderline inconsequential. The same can be said for Willie Snead IV, the veteran free agent the Dolphins signed last week. Again, another drop. He's had the drop C's at practice as well. Again, this is not a guy who's going to make the roster. Again, the Dolphins wide receiver core, I mean, that thing is etched in stone almost. You want to talk about like position battles in a lot of different areas. I don't think there is one at wide receiver at all. It's going to be Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Odell Beckham Jr., Braxton Berrios, River Craycraft, and Malik Washington. There you go. There's your 6. Thought heading into training camp, maybe Eric Azukama would have a shot, but he's dealing with an injury again, which Mike McDaniel says is not related to the neck injury that kept him on IR most of the 2023 season. But the bottom line is he's still not out there. What's the saying? You can't make the club from the tub. That's the issue there. Malik Washington had himself a very busy day. Ran the ball, caught the ball, returned punts, returned kickoffs. Muffed the first punt he saw, not good. But he came back with an 18-yard punt return later on where he fielded a line drive, moving forward as he caught the ball and did a really nice job. Had a really nifty 21-yard run on an end around. Though I would say, again, great job running the ball for him on that particular play. More kudos to the play design and the misdirection that totally got Atlanta out of position. And again, this is a live All Dolphins podcast recap of the Dolphins preseason opener. Going to talk a little bit more about the game, and then I'm going to address all the comments that I see in there, questions you guys might have, anything you want that's on your mind. We will discuss. I guess we should talk about the quarterbacks. Skylar Thompson got the first half. Mike White got the second half, as probably could have been expected. That's how it was going to play out. And neither one of them particularly impressive, if we're going to be honest about it. Skylar's the one who got points on the board. More so, although he did get the benefit of a fumble recovery at the 6-yard line off a botched snap, which Isaiah Mack recovered. Then Jalen Wright scored on the 6-yard run. And the very next play, run up the middle where Wright basically wasn't touched. And I know a big deal was made of Malik Washington's block, but he came in from the side. He's not the one who cleared the path in the opening. This was a play where the aforementioned Sean Harlow had a great block up the middle. I think Jack Driscoll also had a great block where they cleared a path right down the middle for Wright. The big play with Wright, and going back to him very quickly, before going back to the quarterbacks, the big play for him was when he caught a backward pass behind the line of scrimmage, bobbled it, and then used his speed. This was to the right of the formation, used his speed to run all the way around the other side to wind up getting 14 yards off a broken play, and gave you some of the dazzle and some of the feels that we got from the Von Achan last year. So that obviously was very, very good to see. Going back to the quarterbacks, Skylar Thompson had the one pick that Dolphin quarterbacks threw. It was kind of a float over the middle where he was trying to fit it in a tight window between a lot of defenders. He did a great job in clearing the linebacker who was in front of Malik Washington, who was the intended receiver, but it took a while to get there, and the cornerback, Kevin King, just cut in front of Malik to make a pretty easy interception. That wasn't a great play. And then Skylar's big pass play of the day took advantage of a botch coverage where the Falcons left Tanner Connor pretty wide open down on the right sideline, and then Connor did a great job breaking the tackle around midfield, picked up another 20 yards for overall a 43-yard gain. It was a nice game for Tanner Connor in his quest to make the roster as a fourth tight end, and a 22-yard catch, the longest completion for Mike White in the second half. Although, unfortunately, he was injured at the end of the play. Looked like he took a shot in the side, midsection rib area. Immediately went to the locker room, his mouth guard in disgust because he was frustrated. So that's not good to see. Injuries were kind of an issue this night. Connor got hurt. Juan Burton took a nasty shot after Mike White threw a slant on third down. That's kind of a throw that's, like you say, quarterback made because he stuck him in traffic there. Burton dropped the pass before he took that pretty big hit. Grayson Murphy injured himself. Looked like a calf maybe that he was holding. This in the first half. Came back in the game, left the game again. Ezekiel Vandenberg sustained an injury of some sort. I can't recall exactly to what body part. Didn't see him again after that. And the other one who left the game was tackle Keon Smith, who actually started the game at left guard. Had a bad two-play sequences I wrote in my instant takeaways recap on Miami Dolphins on SI at si.com/NFL/Dolphins, where Keon Smith got beaten trying to make a run block on one play. On the very next play, not his fault. He was the victim of a flying Falcons defender who was rushing Skylar Thompson and landed into him on the side of his knee. The knee looked like it bent the way it's not supposed to bend. Hopefully, it's not a serious injury. Did not look particularly encouraging at the time, but obviously we'll know more in the next few days. With all of the offensive linemen not playing on this evening, the starting offensive line, for those who care about such things, was Patrick Paul at left tackle, Keon Smith at left guard, Jack Driscoll at center, Lester Cotton at right guard, and Ryan Hayes, the seventh-round pick from 2023, at right tackle. Paul's the one who stood out. Driscoll had a pretty good game from what I could tell. Ryan Hayes had some issues, particularly in the second half. Not great. A couple of drop passes were a problem for Mike White, even though his numbers weren't good. He wasn't sharp. He was playing in the second half with players even lower, further down the depth chart than Skylar Thompson got the chance to play with. That has a factor, which is why, if there is a true quarterback competition for the backup spot behind Tua Tagovailoa, to me, it would only make sense that at some point it's Mike White who plays the first half, Skylar the second half. Although I don't know if that's going to happen next week in preseason game number 2 against Washington, because Mike McDaniel's MO has been to have to play in the second of the preseason games. But Mike White did not look sharp. They were drop passes. Braylon Sanders really sneaked the fourth, as we mentioned before. Jaquan Burton had to drop. Jeff Wilson had to drop, although he came back on, may have been the play right after, to catch a touchdown pass on a swing throw from Skylar Thompson. Outside of that, what else stood out? Well, what else stood out is a very long preseason game. We hate long preseason games. Dolphins did win 20-13. That's not the most important thing at all. But it was a very long preseason game at the risk of repeating myself. With that having been taken care of, I'm going to go to the top of the messages, see what's on you guys' mind. And again, I appreciate you joining me. Please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Tell your friends, and let's get to it. Richard Keys, Dolphins should go after Aaron Banks and James Daniel. Let me address James Daniel because I've seen it on Twitter. And I know a lot of guys who cover the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I reached out when that trade first was suggested. And it sounds great because the Steelers picked a couple of offensive linemen in the 2024 draft. And they always have a good offensive line. And James Daniel is in the last year of his contract, and I believe he tweeted out that the Steelers have indicated to him they will not give him a new contract. Problem is, the Steelers still have aspirations for a big season, which they should, because they never had a losing season under Mike Tomlin, as in never. And their rookie offensive linemen, by all accounts, are not ready to step into the lineup. They need James Daniel to get where they want to go. So why would they trade James Daniel? That's basically what I was told. So it sounds good, but I don't get it. Aaron Banks, I want to say, is Aaron Banks still with the 49ers? Is that what we're looking at? And again, it's one thing to keep throwing out Aaron Banks, 49ers, 14-game starter last year. I'd have to see the rationale as to why exactly the 49ers would want to trade him. They're dealing with the Brandon Ayuk situation right now. This is a team that went to the Super Bowl last year. Again, how does trading Aaron Banks make them better? Okay, Raphael Cartwright. Actually, I should put these up here. Here we go. Raphael, YouTube thumb to bring back mullet 69 for the Vikings. I know the YouTube thumb too, but okay. Why? Do we honestly think Anthony is better than what the Dolphins currently have on the roster? Don't know. Don't know about that one. Chris, could not be with you more. This game is too long. Yes, should be a law. Apparently there's a new rule. I wasn't even aware of this. There's so much attention I paid to the preseason in terms of some of the particulars. I wasn't even aware that apparently there's a new rule dictating that there is no more overtime for preseason games. I'd say there should be a 3-hour time limit, and once it happens, if there's 5:44 left in the fourth quarter, so be it. don't think you listen to me. Delish 007, 2 preseason game, 18 game schedule. Let's go. I think it's coming. I honestly think it's coming. The question is, what are the players going to get? I'm going to ask as a exchange from the owners to get that. That's the big question. Nabokov, Jeff, how are you, buddy? What was the final score? Final score was Dolphins 20, Falcons 13. Jeff, again, trying to find the highlight of the play. Tyndall made a half. I can describe it for you. Is basically shot through a gap on a blitz. Came in all alone on Taylor Heineke, who was not good. Got the sack. Good play by Channing Tyndall. Still no luck to make the roster. Still actually probably going to have a hard time making the roster if we're going to be honest about it. And quickly, since I mentioned Tyler Heineke, let me just say something very quickly about Michael Penix Jr., the 8th overall pick for the Falcons. I liked him coming into the draft. I didn't particularly love him tonight, to be honest. The ball's a little bit all over the place. From his days at Washington, he does have moxie and all that. I think he's got a good future, but I don't think he's a finished product. Sal Contrino, it's safe to say the O-line depth is bad, and so are Skyler and Mike White. Wow, that was embarrassing. The only issue I would take with saying the O-line was bad is the Dolphins tonight. Let me give you the final numbers. 144 yards rushing. The 3.9 average isn't great, but I think that includes 2 kneel downs. I actually thought the offensive line played pretty well, but in a big picture type of thing, you're not wrong. This was a preseason game where the Dolphins were not going against any Atlanta starters. But for tonight, again, for what we're dealing with, they actually did a pretty good job. Matt G, hate to say it, but Skyler low-key trash man. Yeah. Skyler. He's okay. Even though, but again, this is preseason, and the same goes for Mike White has not looked good at all. I mean, at all. What the only cause for not panic, I would say, for to happen to Tua, Mike White again, as I mentioned on the episode earlier this week, has made 7 career starts, all of them for a New York Jets team that doesn't have anywhere near the firepower or the creativity of the Dolphins. And in 3 of those 7 starts, his passer rating was over 100. Having said that, he has not looked good all summer. He did not look good. Really? Matt G, anyone who says Skyler over 2, anybody said ever that? Please enlighten me, because I have never ever heard that. Yeah. William, no big deal. It's preseason, honestly. I'm assuming you're talking about the Channing Tindall sack. Correct. It is preseason. Everything we saw tonight needs to be kept in proper perspective, including the performance by Jalen Wright, who, however, did look good, and we saw what it could look like when he gets in the open field with that crazy speed of his. So, but again, perspective. Philip Leduc. Am I correct in assuming you're one of my peeps? Philippe Leduc. What could be? Anyway, Pat McMorris. Pat McMorris played very, very well. My 3 rookie free agents also look good. Isaiah Johnson, Storm Duck, and Jason Maitre. I am in major like with Jason Maitre. Don't know if he makes the 53, but if he does, wouldn't surprise me because he can play. Storm did give up a completion that put the Falcons at the 3-yard line late in the game, but overall, he actually did a pretty good game. Isaiah Johnson as well. Isaiah Mack, Isaiah Mack had the great tackle near the goal line. I think about the 5-yard line where he just met the runner head on and basically grabbed him by the shoulder pads and threw him to the ground. That was a cool play. The other one lucked into a fumble recovery on that muck exchange in the first half. William Rod's mentioning it again. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Viver Vive trading Mike White, bro, is horrendous. Here's my question to you, though. If Mike White is horrendous, as you say it is, why would any team trade for him? The Dolphins eventually decide that Mike White cannot win games for them. If he were to call into action, then the Dolphins would look somewhere else. But again, you're not getting. Somebody asked me that about the idea of trading either Mike White or Skylar Thompson. You're not getting a return of any consequence for either of those. I'm sorry to say. I know it's preseason, but I'll take the W. I mean, the Colts for a lot of years were going 0-4 and 0-4 and 4-4, 0-4 and winning the AFC Cup. It means nothing. And in fact, I could be wrong, but the year the Dolphins went 14-0 in the regular season, I believe they were 3-3 in the preseason. Yes, there was a time when teams played 6 preseason games, and then in fact, the Dolphins at times played 7 preseason games because there was a time where the Super Bowl champion was playing college all-stars, and the Dolphins did that. So they wound up with 7, count them, 7 preseason games. That is crazy. If no running game, Skylar wouldn't have been great either. You're not wrong, Chris. The running game was a lot more effective when Skylar was in the game. No question. William Rod, Sky looks better than White. He has looked slightly better in training camp. Again, the body of work for both of those guys in the regular season suggests Mike White has a much better track. Jose Rodriguez, Patrick Paul looking good, run blocking. Absolutely. And he is a big dude. Both Mike White and Scott terrible. We need a decent back. It's a fair point to make, considering what we've seen this summer. It's a fair point to make. Trade Mike White and space useless. Do save space by trading him. They could save $3.5 million by getting him. And if they do that, they have to. Yeah, same deal. Like $3.5 million of cap space if they do trade him. But if you trade him, you have to come up with replacement because I don't know that Skylar Thompson's the answer as a number 2 quarterback. I'm sorry. Raphael, number 78 rookie, has motor and power. Leonard Payne, defensive lineman. Again, perspective. Look who they're going against. This is somebody who's not making the roster. Big surprise. Tanner Connor looked good. I did a roster projection 2.0 for Miami Dolphins on the side, NFL/Dolphins. I did Tanner Connor on the roster ahead of Jody Fortson Jr. Now I'm hoping the injury he's sustained. Right, not serious. I'm going to keep him out of the lineup because it's a damn shame. Jeff, you tell him first and foremost, hit the like. Absolutely. Thank you, Jeff. Joe, replay review is my favorite thing in the world. There are no words to describe how much I despise it. And I despise it for a couple of reasons. Number one is it disrupts the flow of the game. There's nothing worse when you're watching the game. There's a big play, there's celebration, you get jacked up or you get disappointed if it's against your team. But hold on. You have to wait to see if the call is going to stand. To me, it just completely kills the momentum of the game. My bigger issue with it is how many times have we seen a replay? They make a ruling following a challenge, and you're still left with, did they get it right? For example, perfect example tonight, the Mike White scramble in the fourth quarter on 3rd and 6, I want to say was where he slid, and if you know the rules, the quarterback is ruled down at the point where he starts flying. I saw the replay. A couple of angles looked to me like he was past, maybe even at the 13-yard line. He spotted it at the 11.5. Raheem Morris challenges it. Or no, sorry. Ruled him short. Mike McDaniel challenges it. No, ruling stands. And it's like, What are you talking about? So we wasted this time, killed the momentum of a game, and we still wound up with a bad call. So again, the idea, in fact, I don't remember where it came up, but it was a story that was written where the notion of instant replay was something along the lines of you have 50 people in the bar watching the game, and a call is made, and at that time, all 50 people in the bar start yelling that they got the call wrong, where it's that obvious. Well, that's not what it's turned into. And then second of all, I would have a lot less of an issue with instant replay if there was a strictly enforced time limit on it, say 30 seconds, because I would say for you to change the call, it has to be an egregious mistake. And if it's an egregious mistake, you should be able to spot it within 30 seconds. Sometimes we have replays that go on for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and they come back and you're wondering, oh, they get the call right. No, no, who knows? So anyway, that's me getting on my soapbox. Yes, I despise replay with every fiber of my body. Antonio Salas, both backups looked horrendous, but I take Thompson overweight. I would still maintain I would be very surprised if that's how it played out. If Hunter was listening, Mike White has a much better chance than Skylar Thompson of being the number 2 quarterback. I could be wrong, but that's my take. Raphael, Ethan Bonner, up and down on play. Yeah, no, he had a couple of good plays. Did a great job on a screen pass that he completely blew up, leading to Patrick McMorris making the tackle for a loss. He gave up he gave up a completion, and then was after being beaten pretty cleanly on another play that should have been a completion thrown by Michael Jr. that got his wide receiver out of bounds to make the catch. Bonner did complain that on the completion that it was 41 yards to Blair. Blair kind of tugged at his jersey. It was getting out of the break. I saw the replay. I was looking for it. There didn't look to be anything outrageous. I'm not saying he was wrong, but it was one of those penalties they don't call it. Bonner did have good coverage in the end zone on a fade. Overall, he had a decent night. I like Ethan Bonner. I think he's got a lot of upside. Some media members in South Florida I think, are way too high on him. But that's just me. Rosa Nuts, that field was trash. You're not wrong. It's pretty messed up. There was one play, if you recall, when Skyler was stopped short on a scramble in the first quarter. He gets out of the pocket, runs. He's got Jalen Wright in the wing, but as Jalen Wright starts running in one direction, he slips. Then Skyler gets close to the side, he slips. That wasn't good. You wonder if it caused any of the issues. Raphael O-line not allowing Dolphin QBs to throw. I don't know that I saw that. I don't know that I saw Dolphin quarterbacks get under pressure very quickly. I saw times where the receivers weren't getting open either. Hunter, how are you, Hunter? MVP of the game, Jalen Wright, Patrick Paul, and Malik Washington. Rand Neal had a really, really good game. He didn't play very long, but he was really, really good. Forced fumble recovery, had the tackle on the opening kickoff team to Duke Riley on another stop early in the first quarter. He was really good. But I have nothing wrong with these three choices. No issues here. Like 27 here, I'm assuming you mean Patrick Paul. Irvin's J. Paul, I think that last play was a TD. It's preseason, so who cares? But definitely a TD. Yeah, that was a tough call. For those who didn't see it, there was a 4th down throw in the end zone. Receiver has both down as the ball gets to him. Then he completes the catch. One of the foot comes up, and the question is whether the catch was made while both feet were touching the ground in the end zone, and it was an awfully tough call. He ruled it incomplete initially, reviewed it, kept it. Phil Montgomery, unpopular opinion, Jeff Wilson Jr. needs to make the team. Phil, why is that an unpopular opinion? I think he very well might be on the team. Because where one good running back's going to get cut because it's either going to be Jeff Wilson Jr. or Chris Brooks. And I still like Chris Brooks. Really like him. He runs hard. I like his game. I like Jeff Wilson Jr. too. If we want to talk about guys possibly being traded, if you can get something for him, Jeff Wilson Jr. is a guy who I think could solicit some interest around the league. Kenneth Alvarado, Miami has to have good coaching to be able to be an all-time team. And I think all of us would settle for a playoff win before we talk about all-time team. Jason McDonald, he had a penalty. Is that what you're calling? Is that what we're talking about? Please enlighten me here. Like Jalen Wright, Patrick Paul, unexpected. Well, they both played very good. Again, first preseason game, no starters out there. That having been said, yes, they played very good. Wallace Tinker, all rookies who played look great. Yep, no argument there. Raphael, UDFA, Murphy, pretty well. Chris looks good at those and drop passes. Yes, Chris Brooks did have one drop pass. When the only one, man, it was contagious tonight. Grayson Murphy looked very good. I will say this, however, though, he can be overzealous in looking to get to the quarterback. He's also an undersized edge guy. Where if the defender gets his hands on him, it's a problem. Dude, Patrick Paul's an absolute monster. He is a large human being. Yes, without question. Jason hands to face. Who are you referring to? Rick Shop or Shop QB stock. Again, though, the Dolphins were missing. The guys are going to be in the top 5 on the depth chart when the season starts, if we're going to be honest about it. So that doesn't help. I like this one here. William Rod, hit the like for poop. Thank you very much, sir. POUP, but that's not a huge deal. Patrick Paul was very competent. Looks like a great prospect. He's a very intriguing prospect. Absolutely. Roasted nuts. What's up with Bell? I'm sure I understand the context of the question. Bell played a lot, had a pressure on a play where he was allowed to blitz and free, led to completion in the end zone. Had another play where he made a tackle for a loss, but it was somebody else. It was Deshaun Hand who actually did the dirty work, who set it up. But I don't know exactly what we mean by what's up with him. Got Paulus, I know punter Bailey. They're just a hold for Sanders, but we need someone better. That's the thing. We don't know exactly how much of a factor the holding comes into play as far as the comfort level. Remember, it was a free agent in the offseason, and Dolphins made a point to re-sign him. So, I do think it probably played a role. How much of it? Don't know. Joe McDaniel continues to be too cute by half, a little too often. Not sure what we're talking about. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Raphael, Storm Duck, okay. I thought actually Storm Duck played it. Whoa. Yater Castro, y'all trash 260 watching, 50 likes in my head. We're currently at more than 400. Yeah, come on, people, hit the like button. Thank you. You tell them you're Orlando Alois, can Eric go pop? Eric Izukama cannot go on PUP because he's in training camp. Only players who begin training camp on PUP can go on PUP. When the teams cut to 53, then they go from active PUP, which is where Odell Beckham Jr. is right now, and Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. When you get down to the 53, then either they get activated or they go on a reserve pup. When they go on a reserve pup, they're out for the first 4 weeks of the regular season. If you start on pup, you get activated because you get cleared to practice. You cannot go on pup. If you begin training camp and you're practicing, you cannot go on pup. So that applies to Eric Izukama. With Eric Ezukama right now, it's going to be IR, cut, or he makes it 53. And right now, it's not looking good for him. Malik looked good as a punt returner. Yeah, don't mind him at all as a punt returner. I'm necessarily crazy about him as a kickoff returner. I don't know that he's necessarily got the juice for it. He's got more short area quickness and long speeds. Raphael only one low snap for the game. No issues. You are correct. Not noticed. Listen, that has Bell's offseason praise been validated after this first preseason game? It's not offseason praise; it's training camp praise. And no, I don't know that we can say he built on that in this preseason opener. And I'm not sure, despite all the stories that were written about him, including one on my website, Miami Dolphins on that side. I don't know that we can make him a lock to be on the 53. Wow. I mean, Mike White is probably the worst QB on the planet, dude. Look around the league. There are a lot more worse quarterbacks than Mike White. A lot of QB a lot of unhappiness with quarterbacks. Um, Again, understand. While I'm not saying the quarterbacks play great, understand. No Tyreek, no Waddle, no BJ, no Braxton Berrios. Weaver Caper played very little, very little. Malik Washington played very little. No Anthony Schwartz. Uh, None of the starting offensive linemen. So that's a factor. It's not doesn't explain all of it. Raphael, next game, Washington. Does Tua play? Mike White starts or if Tua does not play, Mike White will start. I strongly believe. However, again, going back to Mike McDaniel's MO in his first 2 years as head coach, Tua has played the second game. So this might be different, actually. If for no other reason, and maybe the comfort level is even greater, that maybe he's going to decide Tua doesn't need to play a snap in the preseason. And I don't know that would be a major issue, particularly if Waddle is the something, if OBJ is still not right. Um, I don't know that the Dolphins necessarily need Tua in the preseason. So if ever there was a time to not play Tua, this would be the time. And if that's the case, interesting. Phil, everyone who complained about Teddy Bridgewater owes him a big apology. I will just leave that one alone. Gerardo Fernandez, I would give Mike White for a walk. Interesting. Rafael Skyler's arm was hit when throwing. Are you talking about the interception? I will, again, I don't believe I saw that, but I will Dan Skyler too busy staring down receivers. Yep. Yep. Cut to the chase podcast. Tannehill question mark. Here's the thing. This is an offense designed for quick passing, rhythm passing. Everything comes out quickly. Does that strike you as being Ryan Tannehill's fault? And there's the answer. Harsh. Number 71, number 76 were human turnstiles on the O-line. That would be Keon Smith and Ryan Hayes. Well, Keon Smith wasn't in there very long. Ryan Hayes, no, did not have a great game from what I saw. That sounds harsh, though. Dan Fry, I'd happily take Tannehill. Okay. Jason McDonald, that start the slide call gives way too much flexibility to Vegas. I'm not sure. Yep, Ryan Hayes to get a holding call, absolutely. Let's see what we got here. Man, you guys are hating. You guys are hating on Mike White. Man, Braylon Sanders Gonzo. I don't think he came into training camp with much of a shot, to be honest. And he's done really nothing to help his cause. He had one drop in a training camp practice this week that was Wilson when he had the game today. Whoa, Jason McDonald. Whoa. Jason, I know it's early, but it appears Patrick Wall has Richmond Webb potential. Man, well, at least you preface it by saying I know it's early. Richmond Webb was a stud the second he stepped on the field at Dolphin practice. Let me see Patrick Paul do this if he's in the lineup against an NFL starting defensive lineman, and then maybe if it becomes 80% of the player Richmond was, I mean, some. Skyler and Mike the same level, trade Mike and say, if Mike McDaniel deems that that's the case and the trust level is the same for both, that would make sense. But that's going to be the question. What's Mike McDaniel's trust level going to be heading into the regular season? And I think it's going to be who is 78 or 79 that right? And 78 is Leonard Payne, defensive tackle from Colorado. 79 is Baron Matos, the Dominican tackle from the University of Florida, who's going to be in the practice squad the whole year and not count against the practice squad spot because he's part of the international pathway program. So the Dolphins can keep him on there and just develop him. He's another one who, like Patrick Paul, is quite a large individual. Let's start wrapping it up. Couple more here. Jason, I think the move is to slide Armstead to left guard and start Paul at left tackle again. Jason, you're getting way influenced by one preseason opener against backup. Not to say Patrick Paul won't become a good player, but it's not a move you make right away. Armstead to left tackle. Oh, no. Zero chance. Zero. Raphael, we traded away Feeney to the Bears in 2023. Is with the Vikings now. What do you think about a trade? I don't. I think Feeney is any kind of an upgrade of what the Dolphins already. Storm Duck makes the 53, played well. A hell of a name. You know you want to write his name. It is a great name. My guess is one of those three rookie free agent cornerbacks going to make the roster. I like Isaiah Johnson a lot. I like Jason Maitre a lot. I like Storm Duck. Right now, I think based on what I've seen, Maitre by a hair over Johnson with Duck. Let's see here. Finn's real Jalen Wright reminds me of Ronnie Brown. He's going to be a good one. Ronnie Brown was like 6'2", 230. Jalen Wright's like 5'10", 185. Okay. So no, I don't see the comparison. Well, actually, Jalen Wright reminds me a little bit of Devon Achane. Edward Mazur, what's up, Poop? Do you think our defense has an identity with Weaver? Yeah, that's the toughness thing. And I've said this on the podcast. I don't know. It makes for a good story in training camp. Do we really see toughness as being the issue for the Dolphin defense last year? Or do we see a defense that was really good for the second half of the season until injuries hit, other than the end of the Tennessee game? And was the end of the Tennessee game really about toughness, really about losing coverage in the secondary, namely on those crossing? So I don't know. I'm not buying that. I do like the look of the defense. I like the blitzing. I like how it's going to be a lot of different looks. I like the plan is to use Jalen Ramsey in a lot of different spots that I like. Let's see. Okay. Wrapping it up here again. Please like, subscribe. Anything else? Was that kick? With your kick, Sanders' longest? You got a hold of that one. I don't know. I really don't know what his longest in the regular season. I'm not sure. I mean, he did nail the crap out of it. The second one was ugly though, because he did have another one, and it was way left. Never had a shot. Let's see what we got. This is addressed to me, Francisco. Thanks for staying up all night, hero. Well, I'm about to go to sleep. We're gonna very soon wrap this up here. I'm looking for. That was all about defense, and that was pretty good. That's what matters. Even our backups didn't have anyone to throw to with a vanilla offense. True, but there were a lot of good accomplishments in winning games. It wasn't strictly about the defense. Let's see. Bup, bup, bup. Well, Davis says right is 5'10", 210. Easy now. Yeah, I may have overstated it by 185. He doesn't look too thin to me, to be honest with you. Let's see what he here for. Okay, he's not showing up here. See like this. Let me look at the Dolphins roster real quick. It's not been real quick yet. Jalen Wright, 5'10", 210. According to the Dolphins roster, again, I don't know if I think that's gospel. Ronnie Brown, again, is a large. So no, they don't look the same to me physically at all. Ronnie Brown listed as 6'23". Ronnie Brown was, to me, my perception looked twice the size. Yeah, listen, that's how many Expos hats do you have? Several, and I loved all of them equally. So, and on that note, on that Expos hat note, we'll wrap up our talk about the Dolphins, not the Expos, the Dolphins, and their preseason win, 20-13 against the Atlanta Falcons at Hard Rock Stadium. They're back at it again next Saturday night, August 17th, against the Washington Commanders after they have one joint practice on Thursday. Dolphins are back on the practice field on Monday. We'll be back before then, though. We'll be back tomorrow, time to be announced. It's not going to be live, so you'll get a notification. Again, thanks for joining me. Please like, share, and all that good stuff. And again, I thank you for joining me out here on this Live All Dolphins podcast. Have a good night.